What is going on, wrestling fans and fans all over the world in general? My name is Anthony Walker. Welcome to another edition of the Wrestling Madness podcast. Just want to say something before I get into the Raw results. As always, please go to facebook.com/WMP Oddcast. That's right, WM Podcast, and give that page a like, because that's the Facebook page for the show. Also, go to @WM Podcast on Twitter as well. That's the Twitter page for the show as well. And just follow, leave any questions, and also get me at @Tony_Walker as well on Twitter as well. And also facebook.com/TheHeadAnthonyWalker and facebook.com/TheHeadAnthonyWalker28. Also, if you want to ask me questions, let me know. Promotion in your area, if there's a promotion in your area, anything about wrestling, if you want to get to know me in general, please go to them pages. Links will be in the description if you're watching this or hearing this on YouTube. Thanking you. Now, we move on to Monday Night Raw, which featured an Intercontinental Championship #1 contender tournament. Try to say that 10 hours fast. I'll get to that in a minute. But we kicked off Raw this week with the Superstars and Divas and Vince McMahon and Triple H and Stephanie and everybody, basically everyone in the WWE paying tribute to the one and only Ultimate Warrior. Gone too soon, the Ultimate Warrior left a mark on the WWE locker room and the universe and will never ever be forgotten. So it was only fitting 1 week after his final powerful address to the legend makers who lifted him to the highest level of stardom. The Superstars and Divas of the WWE family gathered to pay one final tribute to the WWE Hall of Famer. 10 bells were tolled, 10 bell salute. A moment of silence was observed, with every superstar donning Warrior's colours and his theme music bearing throughout the arena. A final farewell was bid, and a final farewell to the Ultimate Warrior, Jim Hellwig. I said it last week and I'll say it again. Thank you so much for the memories and the childhood memories that I had when I was a kid. You will be gone, but damn it, you won't be forgotten. May you rest in peace, sir. The next segment on Raw featured a match between two rivals, actually, Rob Van Dam and Alberto Del Rio. This time it was the match to kick off the Intercontinental Championship #1 contenders tournament, and Rob Van Dam at its best, really. It was a touch and go match for the whole effing show, not the whole damn show. Damn you, WWE.com. Del Rio kicked him in the gut moments after Rolling Thunder and clocked the former WWE champion with an enziguri moments before a potential 5-star frog splash could end the night. He wasn't so lucky a few minutes later, though, when Van Dam showed a rare burst of outright aggression by sweeping Del Rio off the turnbuckle and swooped down on the mat with a 5-star frog splash to get the pinfall victory. Basically, these two just ended up picking up where they left off in their rivalries, because they had great matches. I don't know if this match was as good as their matches they had. Yeah, great way to kick off the Intercontinental Championship tournament, I felt. The next segment, match, whatever the heck it was, on Raw, was a shock, to be honest with you, because Rybacksel beating, as they call them on Sunday Segway, Cody Dust, which is Goldust and Cody Rhodes. Curtis, Axel and Ryback, commenced themselves and put themselves forward as major players in the race for the tag team title hunt. And they caused a huge upset over the Brotherhood, which is the brothers Rose, so to speak. Cody and Dustin Rose, aka Goldust. I never saw this coming, to be honest with you. I mean, Goldust had grit on his way with the human wrecking ball of offense to tag Cody, and despite a flurry that the Rose brothers put the Rose brothers in the driving seat, Ryback took advantage of the melee and regained his footing, and Ryback struck with the meat hook clothesline that put Cody flat on the mat. Only a feed me moron would be failed to impress. I mean, this match is such a shock to me, and this match is such a speechless to me, because Rybacksel haven't been doing very well as of late up until this point, and with this win, hopefully they can get back on the title hunt. Do I expect it? Probably not, but we'll see. But like I say, it was a good win for Rybacksel. Time will tell if they can capitalise on it. Squash match next. Divas champion Paige beating Alicia Fox. Not really much to say in this match, but I'll say it anyway. I won't go to my Ronan Keaton's bit for this one. Normally I would, but I won't do it this time round, since we have a, in my opinion, a Divas champion that is not only a great wrestler, he was British as well, but that's a different story. Yeah, it was just the NXT, and I believe she's still the NXT Women's Champion as well, which is something. She's holding both belts, and she gets a victory. Like I say, she got a victory over Alicia Fox. It didn't look like Paige, after Miss Fox hit the newcomer with 1, 2, 3 tilt-the-world backbreakers, but the champ got up and hit her with a trio of clotheslines to soften Alicia up for her signature move, which is the Scorpion Crosslock submission move. It seemed pretty painful. I mean, I wouldn't be on the receiving end of it, and that got the victory over Alicia Fox, and be interested to see what's next for Paige as the Divas champion. Be interested to see what WWE do with Paige as well, despite the fact she is not only the Divas champion, but she's also the NXT champion as well. Will they allow her to wrestle as both? Probably are. The problem is, can she handle it? Because that's a lot of responsibility if you're holding 2 women's titles on one show, If only they called the WWE Divas title the Women's Championship as well, but that's a different story for the other day. Again, damn, I missed that women's title belt. Anyway, I digress. The Usos, via disqualification, lost to Batista and Orton again. It was a rematch from last week. Obviously, there's some feud going on between these two teams now, and it seems that Batista and Orton are together as a team. And it was a carbon copy basically of last week, except this time Batista and Orton won by DQ. The reason why they won by DQ, because as they were on the, I think it was Batista or either Batista or Orton on the outside, it was one of them. But the main fact is, whether it was one of them on the outside or not, the Shield attacked and all hell broke loose, and that's what cost them the match, so to speak. And great touch by the Usos for wearing the Ultimate Warrior's face paint as well. You'll probably see that in the match, or at some point they did it on Raw as well, if it wasn't in the match. But yeah, Batista was able to rally his team into the advantage, and thanks to the Viper, an attempted interference with Jimmy Uso nullified when the fight spilled over the ropes, and it seemed like last week's events would repeat themselves, but this time Orton and Batista, who felt the pain of an unexpected pummeling from the Shield, stormed out from the fold of the WWE Universe to send them scurrying like rats, so to speak. Yep, Shield gets involved again, but like I say, it's far from over with this, and more on that later on. Next on Raw was basically a mauling between Cesaro, another match in the Intercontinental Championship tournament, by the way, was Cesaro actually dominating, just like they did the Big Show last week after the match, manhandling Mark Henry on Raw and getting a victory over Henry with the neutralizer. What can you say about Cesaro at this point? He wins the Battle Royal at WrestleMania, and this guy is on a hot streak, a hot run, and advances into the semi-finals of the Intercontinental Championship tournament. Now, don't get me wrong, the world's strongest man, had his fun toying with Heyman's endorsed opponent, so to speak. But a few of European uppercuts put the big man on his feet, and with fresh legs and a clear head, like I said, Cesaro hit him with a neutralizer and got the victory and advances to the Intercontinental Championship tournament, which I believe he will be facing. I believe it's Rob Van Dam he's facing, so that'll be interesting to see. I think it's Rob Van Dam. I'll have to check that. A job again, another squash match. Alexander Rusev just pummels Xavier Woods, beats him, and poor Xavier Woods on the receiving end of a beating. A beating that R-Truth could do nothing about, and quite frankly, I mean, R-Truth been mentoring Xavier Woods, who I believe was Consequences Creed in TNA, I'm pretty sure, but now he's Xavier Woods in WWE rather, and on the receiving end of the wrath of Mr. Rusev, and I've got a funny feeling there's a lot more of that for other wrestlers rather, from Mr. Rusev, because this guy's going to get pushed all the way to the moon. Another Intercontinental Championship tournament, which saw Mr. Swagger, formerly one half of the Real American, now the self-proclaimed Real American, against Sheamus. Now, Sheamus, people always say to me, and yes, Sunday Segway do it as well, that this man should be heel, or they don't like this guy. Let me just say this to you, okay? Sheamus, babyface, heel, it don't matter. Sheamus, in my opinion, is good, okay? Because he can fight. And not only is he a good wrestler, he can fight, and that's what he's probably good at. I don't know why people always get on his case, but you know, it is what it is. People are entitled to their opinions. I like the guy. I don't have any like hate for the guy or anything. He's just a monster. You've definitely gone the wrong side of him. You do not want to be on the receiving end of him. That is for sure. But yeah, there was little technical wrestling on this contest, with their grappling thrown out the window in favour of fisticuffs. Because like I said, this is a fight. That's what Sheamus liked, a fight. Unfortunately for Swagger though, there were Sheamus lives despite a timely distraction from Seb Coulter that stopped the 10 beats, fit that move that Sheamus likes to do on the ropes, when he pulls you back on the ropes and just beats the chest out of you. So I do not want to be on the receiving end of that move, ever. The Irishman staged a late game rally and battled through a wicked Patriot lock to put Swagger away with a bro kick. Basically, he got out the Patriot lock and got back in the ring, and everybody thought he was hurt, but as Swagger came back in the ring to get after him, basically Swagger just ran into a bro kick, and Sheamus got the 1-2-3 and went through to the semi-finals. More on his opponent later on. Now, Damien Sandow was supposed to go one-on-one with the Big Show, but Damien Sandow came out running his mouth, saying that he was Mr. Money in the Bank, you know, and he was this, he was, you know, claiming superiority and blah blah blah. He was just running his mouth off. I mean, because let's face it, he hasn't had a very good past couple of months. But ever since he lost Money in the Bank, his career's been down on, you know, on somewhat of a downfall. And ever since he broke up from Cody Rhodes as well, his career looks like Cody got the best of that, and WWE just said, we'll make Damien Sandow a jobber now and all that. And he ran his mouth off, and he got up in the face of the Big Show and pointed his finger at him, and all Big Show could do was just put him in his place with a knockout punch, and then Big Show walked away. I guess it was one of them situations where he ain't worth the time or the effort, because normally on another day Big Show would have ripped him apart, but I guess one knockout makes one statement, and like I said, you know, waste of time, not worth the time or the effort, so to speak, from Mr. Big Show. Anyway, again, digress on to the next match. Yes, a match that I saw coming, to be honest with you. Bray Wyatt, John Cena, with the Wyatt family, and John Cena challenging Bray Wyatt to an Extreme Rules match inside a steel cage kind of thing. It was a steel cage match at the Extreme Rules, and with Bray Wyatt losing to WrestleMania was apparently not much. Being pinned on the grandest stage of them all by John Cena hasn't done much to diminish the Etta of Word's mission to expose what would be most precious sheep in his flock. He is no man, said Wyatt. He's a beast. Vowing, they just went on. While Cena came back with all his jokes and everything, and trying to make the Wyatt family look like complete tits. Wyatt's demand for him to get serious brought out a challenge, and that was when the challenge, you know, the Wyatts basically got sick of the jokes and everything, and they demanded that he get serious, and well, John turned round and did get serious, and he seriously challenged him to a match at Extreme Rules in a steel cage. So, and he challenged him to do it man to man and leave Luke Harper and Eric Rowan backstage. So basically, it would be John Cena, Bray Wyatt inside a steel cage without the two goons of Bray Wyatt. But I mean, I'm looking forward to this match. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like John, but I've got a funny feeling Bray's going to win this match, to be honest. I mean, he won WrestleMania. Will WWE allow him to win two matches in a row? I guess we'll see, but it should be a good match nonetheless. Like I say, the Wyatt family always have me interested. One thing is for sure, he's very good at promos. Yes. Next match on Raw, I think Fandango's got his groove back. The next match was Fandango and Layla against, again, Santina Marella and Miss I Can't Dance but Can Wrestle, Emma. Jiminy Cricket. And it seems that, from what it seems, after last week, after Fandango dumping Summer Rae, it seems that Fandango's decision to dump Summer Rae was somewhat of a good one as well, because now since he's joined up with Emma, with Layla, sorry, and they've won two in the trot, so to speak. And yeah, maybe that was a good thing for Mr. Fandango to get back on the winning streak. And I mean, I don't know what to make of these four, so I'm sorry guys, but I think I'll leave it there and move on. The next match was the last first round match in the Intercontinental Championship tournament, which saw Bad News Barrett and Dolph Ziggler go at it. And Big E was watching the matches all night because he wanted to see who to prepare for when they're coming away. And Bad News Barrett, his good fortune was extended for a second week in the ring, successfully defeating Mr. Ziggler to advance with the bull hammer elbow and advancing into the tournament to face Sheamus, and that'll be a hell of a fight, that, I tell you. You want to talk about a fight? Holy moly. I hope this is not a start, and I mean, I don't mind Dolph losing this week to Barrett, because I want Barrett to do well. I want Barrett to basically get back into the world title picture, so if it means becoming a 4-time Intercontinental Champion, then so be it, as long as he's back in the title hunt, the world title hunt, that is. But I hope they don't start jobbing Dolph Ziggler again, because there's another person that needs to be in the world title picture, in my opinion. But like I said, great match, and Barrett now goes on to face Sheamus, and that'll be a hell of a fight, which I'm guessing will be next week's Raw. Yeah, that'll be a hell of a fight. Sheamus and Wade Barrett, Bad News Barrett, whatever you want to call him. And finally, the main event of the evening, which was the Shield versus the Authorities match, so to speak, which turned into an 11-on-3 handicap match. Shield versus Alberto Del Rio, Jack Swagger, Bad News Barrett, Alexander Rusev, Fandango, Ryback, Titus O'Neil, and the 3M Job Squad. And this match, there was nothing much in this match. This match went to a no contest because the 11 Army, so to speak, the Authority Army, managed to get hold of the Shield and give them the beatdown and everything. But as they're beaten down, Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista come out. And as they were coming out, Evolution music was playing, basically. So Evolution is back. That's right, Evolution reformed, obviously to counter the Shield, at least to try to counter the Shield. And as the beatdown commenced, I believe it was Randy Orton or Batista was one of them, grabbed hold of Roman Reigns, and Triple H went up to Roman Reigns and said on the mic, you know, as Roman Reigns always says, believe in the Shield, Triple H said, believe in Evolution, and then proceed to pedigree Mr. Reigns through the mat. The fact of the matter is this, ladies and gentlemen, the Evolution is back. I don't know what this means, but all I know is this, the Shield, I've got their hands full with the group that I call the Four Horsemen of Millennium. Yes, it was Triple H, Batista, and Orton, minus Ric Flair. Don't know what's with Ric Flair. Maybe they'll bring him back, I don't know. But other than that, Evolution are back, and like I said, it looks like the Shield have got their hands full. Raw ended with Evolution reigning supreme, and like it says, hashtag believe in Evolution. I think the motto of the end of Raw was this, out with revolution, in with evolution. Yeah, Raw was pretty good as well, and I would like to give this I'd say I'll give this an 8.5. 8.59. After WrestleMania, they've hit 3 home runs on Monday Night Raw for me. I've liked it. Question is, can it continue? Let's hope so.
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
Are you ready?
It is Sunday, and you're listening to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
Give me a hell yeah! Get some man! Ooh, yeah!
With Kenny Killer.
Hey, yo! We're in the big D tonight, baby! And we are live! Woo!
I'm the Goddamn Sugar Shook.
The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be! Cause that's the bottom line! The Stone Cold Simpson!
Download the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast now at iTunes. Alrighty guys, time for the TNA results. Now, Impact Wrestling kicked off this week with the man who was least surprised by Eric Young's world title win last week. The TNA World Champion himself, Eric Young. Now before, EY was trying to address the audience in the Impact Zone, but before he could truly address the audience in the Impact Zone, he was interrupted by a certain Dixie Carter. Yes, TNA President Dixie Carter. Madam Dixie, whatever the hell you want to call her. Need I say more? Madam Dixie came out and took credit for Eric Young's success, trying to steal Eric Young's spotlight, so to speak, by inventing the beard, saying that the beard was her somewhat property, intentional property, whatever the hell that means. Basically rabbit it on, try to steal the spotlight from what spotlight she can steal since she lost the control at Lockdown, losing the match at Lockdown. Just went on and on and on, and then out of nowhere, the man she slapped last week, Bully Ray, came out. He was in a foul mood. Now, he was not in a foul mood because of Eric Young. He was in a foul mood because of a certain somebody by the name of Dixie Carter, because he was sick and tired of hearing her talk. He even asked for the Impact Wrestling fans to put their hands up and say, how many of y'all raise your hands if you're sick and tired of hearing Dixie Carter speak, and pretty much everybody raised their hands, including the world champion himself. He claims that Eric Young is a role model, and he has made all the sacrifices despite having a loser boss step in his way. Those were bully words. And saying that Dixie Carter should be grateful for the sacrifices that Eric Young has made. The debate with Dixie gets old very quickly for the former champion, and he eventually threatens to get some tables to shut her up. That's all it takes to send Dixie Carter back to Dixieland, basically Planet Dixie. Once the Southern Belle from Hell, God, what a quality name. Southern Belle from Hell takes her leave, so to speak. Bully Ray went on to endorse the new World Heavyweight Champion, raising his hand and improved. The next segment saw the Knockouts division with a street fight. That's right, Velvet Sky, Madison Rae. Now this is basically a warm-up kind of match, like a build-up kind of match for Angelina Love getting their shot at sacrifice for the Knockouts title. In a brutal street fight, and it was brutal, while they were using weapons and everything, it got to a point where Angelina came in, tried to get involved and cause the distraction, which backfired, and then as Madison tried to turn around, Velvet had a candlestick in her hand, looking to whack and take her head off. As she came to do that, Madison ducked, Velvet missed, and Velvet turned around and received a spear, and Madison got the 1, 2, 3 in the process. So basically, whatever the plan was backfired. Madison got some momentum going into Sacrifice pay-per-view, where she'll be defending, like I said, she'll be defending the title against Angelina Love. The next segment saw MVP addressing the masses of the TNA Impact Wrestling, and saying that Samoa Joe has been calling him all week, and he's trying to get in touch with Samoa Joe and all that, but Samoa Joe's not taking his call. Basically, I think he was a little disappointed that Samoa Joe hasn't talked to him, because he made himself unavailable for the match, the gauntlet match last week, and he hasn't been talked to since. And he's saying if Samoa Joe's got some problems, then he needs to come and talk to MVP face to face. Basically, what he's saying is Samoa Joe seems to be a disgruntled employee, but he wasn't the only one, because after a couple of weeks of absence, Austin Aries comes out, and much like Joe, since lockdown, MVP, from what it seems, according to Austin, has been holding Mr. Aries back, and holding him back because he hasn't been, he hasn't called him, he hasn't used him in their match. Basically, what I'm saying is Austin Aries was, quite frankly, frustrated, and proceeds to call him and punk him out and get in his face. And MVP gets a little overheated and decides to say, if you've got a problem, we'll sort it out right here and now. However, Austin had other ideas, and he said, we'll be back next week. We'll do it next week. So next week on Impact, it'll be Austin Aries versus MVP. You can make of that yourself when you eventually see it. Does Austin back away from a fight, or is he smart about it? I guess we'll find out next week. In that respects. Now, the next match saw something that probably should have happened 3 weeks ago. The Bromains again defending the World Tag Team titles against the Wolves, Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards. Now, this was a great match, I have to admit, but not based on what the Bromains did. How smooth of a tag team, and how smooth of the timing was from the Wolves, because it some of the stuff they did was just so beautiful. It really was, and it proves that, to me, in my opinion, they may very well be the best tag team in the professional wrestling business today, at least coming from me. I mean, some of the stuff that they were doing, the timing was beautiful. It really was. For you to grasp it, you have to go and find that match and watch it yourself and see it for yourself. However, it was all ruined when DJ Zima came in and basically hit Eddie Edwards over the head with a laptop, and causing yet another disqualification, making Bromains retain the tag team champion, which is now getting out of control. And hopefully, and I can see it coming, there's going to be a match where the Wolves will probably win the tag titles and Sacrifice or something. These 3 Jersey Shore rejects, quite frankly, are getting on my nerves as the tag team champions. They're a great team. Compared to the Wolves, they're not a great team. They're a good team, but they're starting to become a disgrace to the tag team championships, and that's just my opinion, but it's just getting ridiculous now with this thing. So hopefully this will all end in Sacrifice, which I believe is in May 4th. I might be wrong, I have to check that, but Sacrifice is coming up anyway. The next match saw something that has been brewing for say a good past couple of weeks, maybe more. Willow the Wisp, Jeff Hardy versus Ethan Carter the third, EC3, C3PO, C3 Dumbo, whatever the hell you want to call him, and Rockstar Spud. Now this has been brewed because basically Jeff Hardy's had their, Jeff Willow, whatever you want to call him, has had their number for the past God knows how many weeks, and obviously the two wanted payback, so it got down to a 2-on-1 handicap match. Now don't get me wrong, Ethan and Spud did a good job beating down. I think Spud only came in when it was an advantage for him. Carly did most of the work, but it was very difficult for them to take down Jeff Hardy, and it came down to a point there was a few Jeff Hardy like moves in there, and then it finished with a Hardy Boys twist of fate and a 1-2-3 on Rockstar Spud. But after the match, EC3 attacked Willow the Wisp, and tried to beat him down and do exactly the same as what he did when he put Kurt Angle out of commit. Work on the leg, try and break it or dislocate it or whatever, and basically put Mr. Willow on the shelf. And get some payback for Team Dixie's two goon squad, so to speak, which was Ethan Carter III and Rockstar Spud. However, I guess Mr. Carter didn't heed the warning from Kurt Angle on Twitter saying, "I'm coming for you," because Kurt Angle arrived on the scene and got in the face of Ethan Carter, and Ethan Carter's face was absolutely priceless because it looked like he saw a ghost. Ethan Carter goes to attack him, Kurt Angle ducks and turns it into a German suplex, chasing the guy away. And Kurt Angle went on to say, "I am a TNA Hall of Famer. My career will end when I say it does. But fear not, kid. Angle will get you in the ring soon enough. When he does, he's going to break all your bones, slowly and painful. Kurt promises that things won't end until this Queen Puff leaves the building in a body bag. It's real. It's damn real." Sounds like Mr. Carter's got his hands full with the Olympic gold medals, and dare I say, probably one of the greatest wrestlers on the planet. Be interesting to see how that turns out. What would the night be, ladies and gentlemen, without Kenny King? That's right, Kenny King came out, King of the Night, whatever the hell you want to call him, shows up next, and he knows how much we've all missed him. Yeah, right. He's home again in TNA, but it doesn't feel like it used to. Why? MVP, that's why. He doesn't appreciate true talent. To show how deep his talent flows, he decides to help commentate the following match between the X Division champion Sonata and Tigre Uno, which was basically match 2 in the best of 3 series. These two high-flying stars continued their showcase of talent. Unlike last week, it was Tigre Uno scoring the pin, equalizing and causing a third showdown. Like I say, you just got to see these matches for yourself. Match 1 was beautiful, match 2 was even beautiful. Hopefully match 3 can top match 1 and 2 and be something special. This is what the X Division is all about. This is how the X Division should be. And even Kenny King was impressed with his own commentary. So hopefully, like I said last time, hopefully these guys will go at it again on pay-per-view at the Sacrifice pay-per-view, and hopefully they'll get a better time, because these two guys could steal the show with Sacrifice forever. But we'll see on that point. Now, apparently Bobby Roode is the new king of the tables, at least according to Bobby Roode at least. To prove this, he's challenged anyone on the TNA roster who is not named Bully Ray to face him in a tables match tonight. An open contract that can lead to your demise. So that had to go through Bobby's mind when Gunner came shooting down the aisle with cruel intentions. The fight was intense, as it should be, no disqualification, and the odds seemed even until James Storm caused a distraction and allowed his former Be a Money buddy, tag team partner, to suplex Mr. Intensity through a wooden table. After the bell, Bully Ray rushed to ring to help Gunner avoid a nasty beating from Bobby Roode and James Storm. As it seems that Be a Money's getting back together, I won't be complaining if they did. One of the best tag teams in TNA, so we'll have to wait and see in the upcoming weeks on Impact. But it seems the feud between Bobby Roode and Bully Ray is not over, and as far as Gunner and James Storm goes, that's far from done too. Next was a Monsters Ball match, but as soon as Eric Young won the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, he knew As soon as Eric Young won the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, he knew he'd have to be a fighting champion. No one expected this, though. A Monsters Ball match against Abyss. It's about the most dangerous choice that you can make as a professional wrestler. Trust me, if you've seen previous matches involving Abyss in Monsters Ball, you probably understand why. Because you have to have a lot of you-know-what to step into a Monsters Ball match, because this is probably the most brutal match in TNA. In my opinion, at least, from what I've seen. To put a world title on the line is borderline insane. Basically, Eric was throwing caution to the wind as he allows his title to be decided through thumbtacks, chairs, and cheese graters. It was just a violent, match, as you can imagine. Fans were wondering if EY might have bitten off more than he could chew. But Janice came back, Abyss's best friend, so to speak, the spiked board, made an appearance. Everyone held their breath. That's why the gasped when the monster missed the swing and a kick to the monster's balls, so to speak. Wow, that's one way of putting it, isn't it? All looked great until Abyss suddenly countered with a choke slam into a pile of thumbtacks. Nothing like hundreds of bleeding holes in your back to dampen the mood. Yeah, right. This had to be the end of Eric. Everyone assumed it was over. Everyone assumed wrong, though. Just like last week, everybody assumed that Eric Young bit off more than he could chew last week against Magnus after winning the gauntlet match and asking for a title shot there and then. Eric managed to counter his former best friend, and sent him flying into the barbed wire board on the mat. Seeing Abyss unable to move, Young climbed to the top turnbuckles and flew down on him below. The referee counted 3, it was over, and Eric Young is successful in one of the craziest first title defenses of any champion in TNA history, dare I say, the wrestling business. He wouldn't want it any other way, as Impact came to a close. What will be next for Eric Young? Kudos to TNA, it's starting to get good. It's starting to, it's building, it's got my attention, which is great. And long may this continue, man, because I'm starting to get impressed. And with Eric Young as the world champion, it'd be interesting to see how long he keeps the belt and how long the direction with him as world champion will last. It's very interesting to see. It's a very fascinating time in TNA with Eric Young as the world champion. Very fascinating. Download the Wrestling Matters podcast now on Podomatic.com and iTunes for free. Right, guys, on to SmackDown's results. Following the reunification on Monday Night Raw of Evolution, Triple H kicked off SmackDown this week and looking to respond with something that happened on Twitter that he wasn't happy about. And the tweet by Roman Reigns saying, "Kings do not win wars, soldiers do." Well, the game had something to say about that, and the game opened up SmackDown this past week with a blockbuster announcement. A 6-man tag team match was made for Extreme Rules. The Shield will take on Evolution. The band's back together, and the Shield will face Evolution at Extreme Rules. He then put an exclamation point on what Evolution is about, starting at "In life, you adapt or you perish." I guess we'll find out what he means by adapt or perish at Extreme Rules, because if you ask me, guys, Evolution and the Shield at Extreme Rules, I think we're going to be in for one hell of a fight, and that's something I am looking forward to. Big E defeats Alberto Del Rio by disqualification, as 8 superstars are competing for the right to be the number 1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship and will get their title shot at Extreme Rules. Big E went head-to-head this past week with the former World Heavyweight Champion on SmackDown, Alberto Del Rio. And in the final moments of a forever contest, the Mexicans the Mexico's greatest export, failed to realize his attempted cross arm breaker. Now, he put the cross arm breaker on Big E. It went to a 5 count, forcing the referee to ring the bell and proclaim that Mr. Del Rio was disqualified. Outraged, Del Rio turned his anger back on this powerful opponent, only to suffer a big ending for his troubles. Now, question is, what kind of a statement is this? Is there going to be another match between these two on Raw, maybe? The fact of the matter is this: Big E better not be distracted of what's going on in that Intercontinental Championship tournament. And I know he's not, because up until now, he's been a great Intercontinental Champion. But whoever he faces, he may have his hands full at Extreme Rules. Looks like, if from what I saw on SmackDown, he may have Alberto Del Rio coming for him also. We shall see. Now, there's not really much to say about what happened next on SmackDown, because Paul Heyman came out and delivered a very important message to the WWE Universe. And he only had one thing to say to the WWE Universe, and that was, Brock Lesnar conquered the streak. And he said it loud and proud, and he said it over and over and over and over and over and over again. Divas Champion Paige versus Oksana. Now, 3 days after Tamia won the Divas Battle Royal to become the #1 contender for the Divas Championship at Extreme Rules, airing during the WWE main event show, title holder Paige continued to prove that she's no flash in the pan by beating her worthy opponent, well, not worthy opponent since it was only a job match, Oksana, by submitting her in her Scorpion Crosslock finishing maneuver. Question is, can she do that to Tamia at Extreme Rules? She'll have a tough job, because let's face it, compared to all the other divas in that division, Tamina Snuka is a monster. She may have her way with a new champion, but it'll be interesting to see how it comes out at Extreme Rules, and I'm very, very interested. And if, say, Tamia wins, it'll be also interesting to see how AJ Lee and where she stands in all of it, should Tamia win the championship. Like I say, it'll be interesting to see indeed. The next match saw something that took place on Monday Night Raw this past week, with the 3MB, 3-man job squad as I call them. They seem to be a man down at this moment. Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal, but no sign of Heath Slater. But at this point in time, all that aside, Hornswoggle seems to have joined the group, and on Monday Night Raw he got into a confrontation, something that I've actually been looking forward to seeing, to be honest, with him and El Torito. And what happened on Raw led to what happened on SmackDown. Hornswoggle spent most of the match in, just playing, doing the 3MB impersonations and the guitar, and his mistake led to his downfall, because he ran at El Torito in the corner, and El Torito missed, got him on the floor, and did a moonsault, which is something that JBL called a bull salt, which could have fitted, and got the 1, 2, 3. Be interested to see if this rivalry between El Torito and Hornswoggle continues, or if there's going to be a rivalry between Los Matadores and 3MB. Either way, all this rivalry is just something for the tag team division, because let's face it, 3MB haven't got anywhere lately. Los Matadores, who are, as you guys may well know, as Primo and Epico, it's Primo and Epico dressed up as Matadors. Be interested to see if they can get back on the title hunt too, the tag team title hunt, that is. Another squash match, ladies and gentlemen, this past week. Well, since Alexander Rusev beat up R-Truth's protege on Raw, Xavier Woods, R-Truth decided to go up against the Bulgarian brute. But once again, the rapper superstar got dominated through the whole match, and it led to Mr. Truth's downfall, because Alexander Rusev would force Mr. Truth to tap out or submit to the camel clutch move. Xavier Woods would attempt to stop this destruction, only to be overtaken and tossed over the ropes. What is the future for Mr. Rusev? Like I said, it'll be very interesting to see what happens for this man's career, because this man's dominated NXT, and now he's looking to dominate WWE in general. Question is, what direction will he go in? Be sure fascinating to see. The past couple of weeks, Fandango has had the one-upmanship, so to speak. He's had 2 straight victory over Mr. Santino Marella, but considering what happened last match, Santino actually defeated Fandango this past week on SmackDown. Now, just the same old match that these guys have had, whether it was in a tag team or a mixed tag team or one-on-one in confrontation, but the ending was a little bit different than it was, say, last week. Because last week Santino got his Cobra out and was looking to hit Fandango with it, only for Layla to counter the distraction by taking the Cobra and allowing Fandango to get the pin. Now, Layla did it again, but this time Emma was on the outside and attacked Layla from behind, causing a distraction for Fandango and causing the distraction that was made by Santino. But Fandango was looking to capitalize on it, but it didn't work, and Santino got a sunset flip on him. Well, that's not easy to say, and got the 1-2-3. And then so after the match, Emma goes to high five Santino, and Santino high fives her, but with the Cobra on his arm, and Emma's standing there acting like her arm is lifeless, because instead of getting a high five, she basically got bitten by the Cobra. Oh my god. I swear to god, gimmicks nowadays. Don't get me wrong, there's good gimmicks now and again these days, and there's some god-awful ones. And I think Michael Cole said this best. Santino Marella and Emma are probably the weirdest couple, or the weirdest duo act, whatever you want to call them, that I've ever seen. These two get more weird and weird every week. And I used to think Summer Rae and Fandango were worse. I don't think they've got anything to worry about now. Good grief. And now for an epic fight, which was the main event that ended SmackDown rather. Batista beats Sheamus. Now, 4 days after the reunification of Evolution back into the spotlight to take on the Shield, Batista once again squared off against Sheamus this past week on SmackDown in a brutal slugfest, a brutal fight, if you will, in this main event with these two superstars. The Animal caught the Celtic Warrior on the top turnbuckle and dropped him on the ropes, and that led to the downfall of Sheamus, because that allowed the 6-time world champion to triumph over the Celtic Warrior with a Batista bomb, which allowed Batista to get the 1-2-3. Question is, will the Shield watching that match? If they're smart, I hope they are, because Batista was put up a hell of a fight, as did Sheamus. And like I say, at Extreme Rules, we're expecting one hell of a fight. Next week on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, I will be going into trying to revamp and maybe do something a little different to the podcast next week as far as WWE, as far as the Raw, SmackDown and TNA shows. I hopefully will be bringing some information as well, and also I will be giving my opinions on various rumours and various news over the coming weeks in the world of wrestling as well, should I see any, which I'll probably check on the website and try and give my opinions on it. And also as well, ladies and gentlemen, next week I will be talking about, I'll be hopefully going to be talking about other wrestling promotions as well, like indie wrestling as well. And also, make sure you look out this week, whether it's on YouTube, Podomatic or to iTunes, because I will be bringing a very special Wrestling Matters podcast extra show, or I might continue it to be, the next show after this. I don't know, I haven't set it out yet. The Wrestling Matters podcast show, because I will be going into depth. I will be bringing an in-depth analysis and views and opinion on a show that took place April 19th at the Rainbow Leisure Centre in Colby Newham, an EPW show that I had the privilege of being at, because it was actually a great show. And also I had the privilege of participating in the Battle Royal as well, which was a lot of fun. But I digress. I will take that and I will talk about that on the next show, on that podcast itself. So make sure you tune in for that, and make sure you look out for that as well. Also, like I say, guys, get following at WM Podcast on Twitter and liking the Facebook page, Wrestling Matters Facebook page, which is facebook.com/WM Podcast. Like that page and show your support for this show, because I've been getting good reviews back. And long may it continue, guys. And like I say, I'm a wrestling fan. We're all wrestling fans, and everybody has their opinions. And hopefully in the upcoming shows as well, I can get you guys involved. But like I said, the only way I can get you guys involved on the show is if you follow WM Podcast on Twitter and facebook.com/WM Podcast on Facebook as well. Like the page and look out in upcoming shows, in upcoming podcasts, and hopefully, guys, I'll be able to get you guys involved. And you never know, I might be able to get you guys through Skype on the show. We'll just have to wait and see. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I'm going to say, and that's all all we've got time for this episode of the podcast. A little short, but hell, I've been very busy all this past week, so this is basically all I could do for this point in time. Hopefully I can get something. I'll have something good. I'm working on a few things as well to make this show better, but you'll have to tune in for future episodes to see what I've got in store. So like I say, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I am Anthony Walker. Hope you've enjoyed listening to the Wrestling Matters Podcast, episode 3. Thank you. Make sure you download it on iTunes, and make sure you check it out on youtube.com/AJW Wrestling Matters, as well as Podomatic. Until next time, goodbye.